in our day and age, there's something that is now a statement people use of men need to be high value. They think of high value men as men that have a lot of money and are successful so that then they have something to offer a woman. In our day and age, or at least for us in our relationship, when we got married, people, I want you to understand something. I had recently been laid off from work. I had no job and $200 in my bank account. We had one of our parents co-sign our first apartment for us. And we decided to start a business. But we had nothing to own. And yet there's times I would have panic attacks. I'd be freaking out. And I'm like, I don't know how we're going to survive. And what was that like for you? Because I wasn't a traditional high value man at that time. I had nothing to offer you except my love.
My love. Well, I think that, again, going back to how we met and how we got to, being married, I think what solidified for me that you were it for me was that solid friendship we had, because I got to know you. I got to see the man that you were. And before we reached the point where, you were laid off or whatever, any of that, I got to see the teenager you. I got to, basically grow up with you in some form. And I got to see the man you became, because I remember, when we were, 16, 17 or so, we were both so mature. It was so funny and hilarious, the changes that we went through. But the man that you became was the man that I fell in love with. And because you were someone who was so intentional and who, despite being afraid, you would go after what you wanted. Like, I said no to you a few times, and you were still present because you saw value. And hey, I want this person. And despite the fact that at the time I wasn't, the beginning I wasn't there, your consistency, you just had such a beautiful soul. And you were somebody that I could really connect with in a way that I never connected with any other guy. And the guys that I liked, or even the guy that I liked, I knew he liked me. You can always tell someone but he was afraid of saying anything.
Yeah.
And while he was deciding whether he was going to say something or not, Mr. David Wilson over there was like, I know what I want. And you kept pursuing me in a way that it was impossible to ignore you. And so because I got to know you, when we reached the point where, you had no money and we didn't know what we were going to do or whatever, you know what's interesting? That was the least of my worries.
You literally told me, this was a couple of months after we got married.
Yeah.
We drove home from somewhere. Again, I had almost nothing in my bank account. And I started having a small panic attack. It was one of the few times in my life I've had that. And I was like freaking out, like, what are we going to do? And I remember...
Wasn't that around the time that someone stole one of your lenses from school?
Yeah, that was a similar time as
so
well.
like on top of losing your job,
I had to come up with $3,000.
One of lenses that he had used for school, and he had to come up with money to pay for it.
But I remember you looking at me in that moment, and you said, babe, we could be homeless, and I know that me and you are going to figure it out.
Yeah.
That I'm with you till the end. That this isn't just what can we offer each other independently. It is what can we accomplish together. We are better together than we are apart. And that, as a man, lifted me, because I was like, I feel like a failure as a man because I couldn't provide for you. I had nothing to offer you. And when you looked at me and said, we could be homeless, but I know as long as we're together, we'll be able to figure it out. And so, man, I'm going to challenge you. Like, one of the most important things to look for in a woman when you want that spouse, again, you have to be prepared yourself, is to choose somebody that is ride or die and isn't all about the money that you have, because money's going to come, money's going to go. If you become bankrupt, if you have a lot of money, are you going to leave? That's not the point of it. And that's why this whole high value man, I'm all about becoming as much of a high value man you can, but that can't be the thing that defines your relationship.
Yeah, like money will always be important for survival. Of course, you're gonna need to provide for your family, for your home. You need to pay your rent. You can't be homeless.
Exactly.
You have to have a job. You have to have aspirations, and you have to be driven. Want more from life than just typical the minimum wage or whatever. But if that is the only basis of your relationship, like, oh, she should want me because I make money, that's not gonna last. If money is the way you value yourself as a man, you're gonna suffer a lot, because you're gonna think that a woman wants you for you, but you're only trying to offer her something that can be taken away.
Yeah.
And so I think that the difference here, again, going back to what we were saying, is I got to know you, the real you. And I learned to see the treasure in who you were and the amazing friendship we had. And I got to see the David that would go after things despite rejection, despite of being afraid. You are so determined to, like, I am a testimony of your resilience and your determination despite being afraid, that you put yourself out there and got what you wanted. And this is why when we experienced that setback, it didn't mean anything to me because I got to see the real you. So even though you were going through a phase where you didn't know what to do and you were having these panic attacks and you felt like as a man you were failing me or whatever, like I wasn't worried because I knew the real you. And that's what made a difference for me.
I love you so much.
I love you.
Single guy. Do you have
Hello.
anything to ask this amazing woman?
Well, before I do that, I want to, agree with her sentiment of what she said, because in today's culture, specifically modern dating, a lot of men struggle with materialism as a form of an offering to women, as a sole objectification of who they are. And men are struggling with that because it's constantly being shoved down their throats, that in order for me to have a amazing, strong, passionate woman who has character and integrity, I have to have this much in my bank account. Like that's the only prerequisite. When ultimately what women are looking for is they're looking for a man of integrity and character that does not give up, that doesn't quit. No matter the circumstance, he's constantly doing personal development, making himself better every day, going and watching YouTube videos, learning a new skill, putting more time into his own. Driven and ambitious. So if you're driven and ambitious as a man and you don't give up, naturally the money will come, because money at the end of the day is just a tool. All of those things will fade away. And it's become backwards in society where men feel like they have to be a certain way financially in order to attract that woman. Yes, having money, having possessions will naturally attract that woman because she wants to feel protected. She wants to feel provided for. But that's not the only prerequisite. And unfortunately, that's become the standard, especially in the red pill space, where men are being taught by the Andrew Tates of the world or the Justin Wallers that the true form of masculine excellence is to have a Bugatti and a giant mansion and all of these things. But having integrity and character is the underlying foundation to all of that. And if you don't have that and all you do is sleep around and swipe, then you will attract a woman that will only want you for your money, and then she'll end up leaving you when you don't have it.
Well, it's going back to someone's essence. If who you are can be defined by what can be taken away from you, then you're just a shell of a person, because you put your identity and your value in something that wasn't yours at the beginning and that you obtained later. But, if the economy collapses or, your bank just shut down or someone stole your money, like if you're putting your value as a man or woman into what you do, because I think it goes back to the culture of, the culture tries to define women by their looks and define men by their performance. And this is why you have the whole, for women, it's always about what they look, what size they are, what curves they have, blah, 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 all the, beauty in their faces. And then with men is, do they make money and, size matters type thing. And so because it's all about, quote, performance, because going back to what, we understand that women, even though they can be swayed by a pretty guy, like a handsome man, in reality, what they will girls might be like, oh, he's so cute. But a woman is okay with going with someone who's not as attractive if the man has things or is someone whom she finds attractive.
Is that why you chose me? Because I was less attractive, but I had all the emotional things?
No, you were always cute from the beginning.
Oh, God have mercy.
If you enjoyed this video, click right here to watch the entire podcast.